I remember when I was young, this is in high school senior. I remember the Bush uh, election versus Al Gore. And it was the first time I took a note to politics because I heard the phrase, the election is being stolen. And, in retrospect, with what I know, um, it it really was downplayed in comparison to what people would have done today. Trump said the election was stolen in 2020, but this was actually something where there was ballots printed wrong and people were voting for a third-party candidate, and he won. And they obviously intended to vote for somebody else, but nobody used common sense. They acted, even though the consequences were so high. And that got my attention, and I started talking to my older friends. And when people would ask me my political views at that point, I would say, I'm getting ready to go to college. I don't know much about politics. And my older friend that was most interested in it was an avid Fox News viewer in 2001. And right when the towers went down on September 11th, I was 2 weeks into college. Literally the 14th calendar day of my college life was September 11th. So the climate in America, along with the, the newness of Fox News being a cable news channel that certain people watched, there was very little talk from others that if you watched this, it was where you went to digest the Republican viewpoint. But a very intelligent person, many intelligent people I knew watched this and parroted. It was the beginning of what would become pretty much what all America is today. People watching something on TV, hearing the spun opinion of commentators, and then repeating it and adopting the emotion that was spoon-fed to them in one direction or another. And there was some nuance still, at least at this time, where you could discuss an opinion, but now it's almost, is it A or B? Which medicine do you want? And we're going to give you all the ammunition you need to fuel it. And people do it on both sides. And I was a conservative person, young, and I was stupid and cocky. And then I first felt the impact when the economy crashed in 2008, 2009, from what Bush had done with some regulations. And I did know enough about conservatives. I went for small government and state rights and how they had used this to justify a lot of deregulation and to jumpstart an economy artificially. And it led to something that we still haven't recovered from, with the bailout of the banks and, the crashing of the real estate market. And since then, the debt has been going up, and I felt the pain of that. And then I started to listen to the liberal point of view, and it appealed to me because when I was in need of certain things, that I would hear conservatives talk about, make it very black and white. If you need to, take on this subsidy from the government, this government aid because you're in a hard time, it's because it's your fault. It's that black and white. And the people that are on it shouldn't be on it, but they want to be on it because they abuse the system. I could see very clearly that those words would only be spoken by somebody that was never the recipient of government benefits. Nobody wants to be on that. There is no government program in America that gives you anywhere even close to the amount you need to survive and live anything resembling a normal life. But it's spoken out of ignorance, and I understood this. And you can't really do anything about that. It's not like you're going to make every person that says that in America actually walk a day in the shoes of someone on social welfare. But my dad watched Real Time with Bill Maher, and his voice caught me for some reason. And he traditionally was broadcasting a liberal point of view, but this time it caught me in the beginning, first few years of the Obama administration. And I asked a lot of questions at this time, coming off this change in my luck. And my dad, for the first time in my mid-20s, we talked politics, and he told me he had voted Democrat every year that he's been an adult. And He pretty much reinforced what I had proposed as a question at 24, 25. If you have a high degree of intelligence, like, how could you ever think the conservative things I believed were right? And he simply told me you couldn't. And then I said, but here's the thing. That can't possibly be true because there's two sides of an argument. I mean, this country is not in a state that just one side is right about everything and the other side's wrong about everything. And he said, but it's not far off. And I feel more strongly about certain things than others. And I started to respect his political point of view for years. And while Obama was in office, it pretty much stuck. And then when people denounced Trump, I jumped on that bandwagon, and there was no reason not to. And then what I watched slowly happen with the Democratic Party went from being right, and when Trump won the nomination, what people didn't talk about clearly, it was because of the fact that the Republicans had a clown car of candidates. The entire party couldn't muster up one candidate that would be desirable to vote for over Hillary Clinton, who would go down in history as she will go down in history as the most unsuccessful presidential primary candidate and presidential candidate. Most people lose a primary to a one-term senator. Their political career is over unless they want to go back to the Senate. You know, they don't become the Secretary of State and then run again in 8 years like an heir apparent. And you see, Donald Trump was smart enough to know what she was because he was close to their family. And he ran against her and beat her because he also was smart enough to know the Republican Party was lost. And the Democrat response, knowing that Hillary would have made a better, more traditional president than Trump, even though what their true beliefs were seemed to be more in line with what Bernie Sanders represented, no Democrat could really even tell you why they liked Hillary. I saw this beginning of something that was rubbing me the wrong way. Bill Maher talks about it today. I saw it a little earlier than everyone. I knew Trump would win that first election, and I knew it was because Hillary was not the right candidate, and I knew it because the DNC changed their primary laws because of what happened to Bernie. I knew it because some of my very intelligent liberal friends in Denver, a very liberal and educated city, and these were not extreme left people. They were just very liberal, open-minded gay men that I respected very much. They were both voting for Jill Stein, a protest vote, because they did not like how the DNC handled the Bernie incident with the superdelegates. And I saw this slow train start moving. I didn't know. I'm not going to be so cocky to think I could see it coming because I honestly never would have predicted it. But in 2016, Hillary's winning the election would have been the start of what would have, and probably would have been better, so we assume. But since what has happened since then, the last 11 or 9 years has been so unpredictable, that's proof that we don't ever be so cocky to say we would have known what would have happened if this happened instead of that. The COVID pandemic hits and things happen so unexpectedly that you can't say if this other person was in there just based on what they said in a campaign or their track record, what would have happened in the world. But it would have been a liberal revolution almost. It would have been, 8 years. It would have been what happened after Reagan. You'd have his vice president served. That's pretty much what it would have been with Hillary. And the country seemed to be at a good spot socially. And what Trump did was he stirred the pot. But what happened, and that's from going from what I thought in 2001, Fox News imagined a trick. And then by the time Obama ran, people knew that that was a spell that was put on people. And they started looking at the facts. If someone won the election based on, let's not forget the black leadership supported Hillary Clinton right up until weeks before the primary was over. And most staunch registered Democrats supported Clinton, but that was the last time, I should say, that I've seen people actually cast a vote in either party. Until Donald Trump, believe it or not, based on what they felt about the candidate. It had nothing to do with party or the ideals. Like, this guy is smart, Barack Obama. we're going to go against the status quo and who's the heir apparent, and we're going to pick this candidate. And it took us in a good place. It wasn't about the president. It was about the fact that he had to win it with who he was and his intellect and his ability and his potential. And they made it hard for him when he was in office to even be a good president. But by his second term, he was undeniably that. And Republicans won't admit that, but that's normal. Neither side ever admits the other had a good term. But when Trump ran, conservatives would very openly say there was a never Trump movement. And when he's elected, they all got behind him because it showed what this country had become and would become more of in the next 8 years. From, believe it or not, Trump's first term from 2016 through 2020 and Biden's term as a Democrat from 2021 through 2024. It would become a country that is full of people that need their opinion on an issue to be spoon-fed to them. A country of idiots. This country is on Team D or Team R, the red team or the blue team, and nobody thinks that anyone on the other side is intelligent. Like, the Democrats aren't aware that if you get in a room of educated Republicans, that they will refer to Democrats as libtards. Like, they'll think this is a redneck term. Like, what they're implying is the Democrats are stupid, which is what the Democrats always, for my entire life, implied about Republicans, and had data to back it up based on education. But what happened is when Kamala Harris was nominated, the Democrats had the clown car instead of the Republicans. The tables had turned. Even though 4 years ago when Biden was elected, there was a huge pool of qualified young leaders. They picked this man with no plan, very similar to how the Republicans picked Trump just because she wasn't Hillary. The Democrats, instead of their slogan, when they go low, we go high, which to me always showed a moral compass, and it showed a level of compassion and morality and a dignified sense of what it means to be a human being and an American. They abandoned that and said, you know, we would love to do it, but that game is over. Those days are gone. And we're going to play the way the Republicans played dirty. And they don't know how to play that way. And it showed. And now what you have is the day before this 2024 election, I mean, me and my very small circle of friends, we knew 110% that Trump would win in a landslide. And I talked to many Democrat friends of mine, and I want to say I'm a Democrat registered still. I just would like to say that I would like to hear an issue before I make up my mind on what my stance is on the issue, which today makes me a bad Democrat, because I would like to be informed and make up my decision. And then you can tell me what the party thinks and what the pundits think, and I will compare their notes to what I think. But I won't be spoon-fed the opinion that has been tailored by, almost like by a lawyer in a closing statement to a criminal proceeding, and then read about and research the issue with a bias, because that's not how in elementary school and middle school and high school and college I was taught to research a topic. You don't hear somebody's opinion and then begin to research it. I mean, there's a debate club where we practice taking either side of an argument. And the idea of debate club is, this is the closest thing you can get to politics. You need to be able to defend either side of an argument because you will research it and understand both sides very well, to the fact that you can defend something that you do not believe in because you are so well aware of the facts and the data from the other side that they use to defend it. That has disappeared. And my dad, the person that I always look to be my compass on politics, what I wonder these days is, has he always just been a sheep that has been spoon-fed his information, or has he evolved with the majority of the Democratic Party, just like the Republicans evolved when Trump threw his hat in the ring back in 2016, when they had the clown car of 15 people at a primary debate? Ridiculous. They'd have 2 nights. The Democrats had the same thing, except when they had the clown car, everybody had, all right, so we're going to vote for Biden, but here's what we really like. Okay, let's say we didn't have to vote for Biden because some voices are telling us that's the only way to win, and getting Trump out is the goal. And let's ignore that we don't really have a plan on how we will follow this through. And it might bite us in the ass. Like, he's very old, and after his first term, he won't be physically capable of being the president, and you're going to have to nominate a vice president that can step up, that you would want to be your nominee. No, let's actually not think about that, and let's nominate for vice president somebody that is a token vice president to represent something that is false, that we don't actually stand for. She's not the second best candidate. She was the first one to drop out. There's 10 people in the primaries better than her that should have been vice president and that would have beat Trump. And just like Bernie Sanders probably would have beat Trump, whether that was the right choice or not, the Democrats once again are going to go 3 times in a row. Hillary, Biden, Kamala Harris, with a candidate that everybody knows deep down is not the best. So what I wonder is if my father, having voted for all those people and always said that they're the best candidate, if he even has the ability to have an opinion and make up his own mind, or if the world just gotten crazier and he's gotten older, or is that he just sound informed the entire time because I only talked to him in this brief window where the Democrats could look down on the Republicans because following George W. Bush with a person like Obama, there was a small window during that 8 years Obama served, especially in that second term, where you could look down and say, like, hey, we pretty much stand for common sense and what's right now, and you guys stand for a bunch of wacky things that are, more or less just trumped up social issues that make no sense. You laugh at science, you thumb your nose at statistics, like the woke movement, the cancel culture, like not having the balls to say, Kamala, you know that we only put you on the vice presidential ticket because you were a woman of color. And this is a serious thing, the presidential election. We need to at least let the people vote. So if we're going to put you on the ticket, at least let people vote you on. At least let them go to the ballot in the privacy of a election for the primaries and cast their vote without judgment for who they think is the best. Because no one's going to say out in public, and I understand that you are just the presidential candidate because you're a woman of color and you had to balance out Biden's whiteness. And if Gavin Newsom threw his name in there with Pritchard from Michigan and Illinois, Illinois and Michigan both have, I believe, governors that are great candidates also. But it shows you how weak the Democrat Party has become and how similar to Clown Car they've become. Someone that is informed as me and that understands the big picture and is unbiased as me, can't even recall Pritzker. Which state is he from? Is he a governor? What is he? Is he a businessman, I think? And then there's a woman. I don't remember if he's from Illinois and she's from Michigan or vice versa. I think Whitman, Pritzker and Whitman. I believe one's a woman. I believe one's a man. I believe one's a governor. They both might be governors. Maybe one's a mayor. I'm not sure. See, that means we've become the clown car. The other names floated to run besides Gavin Newsom, who very obviously for the old traditional reasons that, the Democrats are, against now. He's white and privileged, therefore he can't represent us, even though he can win, the same reason that you voted for Joe Biden. He's too slick. Oh, wow, slick. Sure. And Kamala's too what? She's better than him in what way? And, before she put her name on that primary ballot, did anyone know who she was? Let's be honest. No, of course not. So, anyway, what I just wonder is when the Democrats or my father are going to wake up and say, our party is a mirror image with the woke bullshit and the not admitting facts and the very uninformed manner in which they operate, the hating people. We hate Elon Musk like Republicans hated Obama. If you think that Obama is not a great and accomplished man that is good for humanity, then you're biased. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, but I am certain you're not aware of everything that this man has done. And if you think a lot about Elon Musk, I don't know what people hate about him, but I know that his company Tesla alone, what it did for global warming before either party could put on their underwear that morning to actually act, that alone, that one accomplishment. And let's ignore that he has accomplished more in space travel than NASA has in its entire existence. That one accomplishment has done more for the Democrats' number one issue over the last 20 years than any person or corporation. And let's hate them. Let's do that. You're acting like the Republicans. The people, I didn't finish my sentence. Whitman, Pritzker, Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom's a good candidate, I believe, just because he can win, and he's a politician for a long time. If you're the governor of California for that long, it's the sixth largest economy in the world. Your resume reads automatically, you're ready to be the president. That's why Ronald Reagan was able to run. And as bipartisan presidents go, he's one of the best. You could have that in Gavin Newsom, but you have Whitman, Pritzker, and then Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Oprah. Hillary Clinton, that must be a joke that she's in the top 6. Michelle Obama, well, her husband was a good president. She's not a politician. Oprah was a talk show host. You have become the clown car, Democrats. So, anyway, let's not forget that in 2020 you had Andrew Yang and Pete Buttigieg and many other, and Bernie Sanders, despite his age, which will indefinitely be held against him, with their finger on the pulse of America and fresh and new ideas that would actually help. So your party isn't arguing about issues that are not issues. Wake up, Democrats. If you want to be relevant again, wake up. Because if you don't wake up, in 2016, the Republicans had 15 people running that stood for nothing, really. They didn't seem much different than George Bush or John McCain, or, and the one that was most, Mitt Romney, the one that I believe policy-wise was most sane. He wasn't in there. It's similar to Gavin Newsom not being in. If the Democrats don't want someone like Donald Trump to just swoop in and be like, so nobody's in control here. Nobody that you're going to actually run is electable. So I'm going to throw my hat in the ring and use my money to get nominated and then redefine the party from conservative to MAGA. And if you would have asked 100% of Republicans if that's what they wanted before, 75% would have said no. And you would have had the far right, the ones that don't really represent what the party will ever accomplish, saying yes. And that's not good. The extreme of one party, 25%, 1/8 of the country, that should not be up for ruling if it's only representative of 12.5%. So you're going to have that, and the left, don't think that the extreme left candidate, if they can win, which I don't know if they can because, the racism part of the right, nobody ever thought that would be legislated. And don't say border control, because legislating the law as it stands is not actually racist. To say we're going to enforce the laws on the books. It could be a lot of things, but it's also following the law. So, throwing out the most qualified people because they said one sentence the wrong way 10 years ago, or saying that the sum of Elon Musk is what he's done in the last 18 months after his 30-year career that compares to Leonardo da Vinci. And I don't even know what he's done. I'm just saying, you guys hate him like Republicans hated Obama. They used to say that he spoke like Elmer Fudd. Whenever somebody says, when I say, what's your big problem with Elon Musk? Oh, he's a psycho. He doesn't donate to charity. Okay. Is there really a reason to hate somebody? You guys don't even know why. Obama speaks like Elmer Fudd, huh? Okay. I mean, he might be the greatest orator ever. Put him up there with Abraham Lincoln, Ronald Reagan, the greatest speakers. It's undeniable. Go look at data. They've taken polls on this, where they've polled everyone. Elmer Fudd, you're equating him to the worst speaking cartoon character in history? Okay. You're getting crazy. Democrats, this is where you are. You need to absorb this. This is coming from one of your own. I represent the traditional democratic or liberal social issues, and most of I'm on the fence with a lot of the fiscal issues because there are problems. I don't think either side can really claim that they do one thing. Everyone has been rather reckless since those towers went down, which was the terrorists' intention. So this now to both parties. Wake up. Stop being sheep. If your opinion is parroted on MSNBC or Fox News in any way, shape, or form, you need to do more research on the topic. And it's not by watching cable television news, and unfortunately, it's not even by reading the newspapers. Look at the Steve Ballmer's website. I believe it's factcheck.org. Or it's just type in Steve Ballmer fact website. It's a nonprofit that gives you facts, and it's not biased. He made it as a tool to help people that can't find the truth via news. And then look up data and statistics. Ask yourself questions. Pretend that it's a homework assignment where you're going to have to cite in a bibliography which data-driven, nonpartisan pieces that you referenced. And make up your own opinion. Go through every issue you'd like and see where you land based on the actual research. And your mark for whether you've done it well or not will not be what opinion you've arrived at. Your mark for whether you've done well or not will be that if it's parroted on Fox News or NBC, that's a coincidence because they cannot be cited as one of your references. And let me give you a bold prediction. It won't be parroted on Fox News or MSNBC. Because if you do data-driven research, you'll find that every issue is almost never black or white. It's almost always gray. And we are no longer in the business of seeing any news reported that's in the gray area that says, well, this party has a good point with this party has a good point with that. The challenge will be doing the balancing test. Common sense, debate club, things we do in middle school. And young people, you're the closest to school. What's wrong with you? Why are you being the first to adopt the same thing senior citizens are doing with, I'm already on this team. You're going hard for Hamas. Okay. If you're supporting a terrorist organization, you better be able to articulate why. And you better know the issue. And it's a complicated issue that's gone on for my whole lifetime. I don't know if anyone that I know can really give you a great solution. Please don't act like you have it in 10 minutes. Respect the depths. And everyone else out there, respect the depths by paying attention to what's actually going on and how it actually affects you before you miss the fact that the biggest problems are not being discussed because you are too busy bickering about nonsense and finding the next insult for the side you don't like that you can make memes about to post on Facebook for your friends. If you consider yourself an informed intellectual, you need to agree with me. And if you don't, write me a paper where you can prove with fact and science how, in a democracy, what I'm saying can be deemed anything except imperative, accurate, and necessary for it to function as intended. Thank you. By the way, no script, unrehearsed, just how I was feeling today. Imagine what I can do if you actually rev me up